I'm going to let you all in on a little secret. When we filmed with Cory Booker, after Kamala lost, all of the Democrats came to us. We want to be on your pod. We want to be on your pod. And we're like, great. Yeah, you can be on our pod. I don't have a corporate news background, so I ask questions that I think are relevant. And some Democratic politicians come on and they don't want to know what they're talking about and they don't care. They just want to talk about the country and whatever questions I have for them. Others are a lot more scripted and controlled. And Cory Booker's office, it's in our producers. Cory wants to talk about XYZ. And I saw those talking points, but right out of the gates, I asked him, what have you had it with? And he said, I've had it with corporate money. And I was just like, please, you take like millions of dollars in AIPAC money.
Jen Welch and Pumps on I've Had It recall a recent discussion with New Jersey Senator Cory Booker.
There's a photo shoot with you with Benjamin Netanyahu. And I was just like, what in the actual, like, how can he do that? It was heartbreaking. I felt betrayed.
Yeah.
And hang on. And that doesn't just happen in an echo chamber. It's important when there are Democrats like you, where the base, we should make each other better. We need to evolve. And I love that you come on here. We need to have these conversations. It's not a purity test. We want credible messengers.
And
do you think he's a war criminal, Benjamin Netanyahu? Do you think he's a war criminal?
Again, these are questions that a lot of people think are the important litmus tests that are loaded and hot. My urgency is to be an effective leader in bringing an end to this crisis. And I get these questions all the time that, to me, undermine my urgency.
Because he will not answer the obvious question. And so what Welch did on IHP was spill some serious tea.
So it led down that rabbit hole, right? Because I was like, wait, this seems hypocritical. And instead of staying on the script that his office sent me, I went with his answer as a normal conversation should. Well, the whole time I'm asking about Benjamin Netanyahu, his office is stage 5 melting down, texting our producers, trying to get her to like, hey, we didn't agree to talk about this, blah, blah. My point in this is not to pick on Cory Booker or his staff. They are operating the way they've always operated in corporate media. That's the way it's been. They were doing what they've always done.
This is true. That is the way it's always been. Booker would have another bad moment, and just a spoiler, he's full of them.
You don't want to call Benjamin Netanyahu, say, a war criminal. What happens if you do? What changes by just saying, I believe Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal, and that signals what our sort of moral parameters are for the kind of leadership in Israel we view as acceptable?
This is not a political test for me. Benjamin Netanyahu is a horrible person who enabled October 7th and has failed to take accountability. Remember, he knew about the Qataris funding this horrific terrorist organization, Hamas. He knew about that. I have no problem calling him out and saying that he should be held accountable for any crimes that he's committed. Mm-hmm. My focus, and has been consistently before October 7th, is trying to be a force as a member of the Foreign Relations Committee to do everything that I can to bring this enduring conflict to an end. He's got an election coming up this year, Netanyahu, and I hope the people of Israel not only vote him out, but then jail him, because he's obviously has crimes right now that he's being investigated for.
Where he just can't acknowledge what we all know. Thus, is it any surprise that he would get trolled like this? Absolutely not.
Please keep funding our genocide. Thank you, America.
Oh, wow.
Thank you for saying something about Thank you for saying something Thank you, America. Please keep funding our genocide. Thank you, America.
It's a very big
Cory Booker for Senate. Cory Booker. 2026. Let's go. Keep voting for
Gaza. What kind of outlook do they have? You funded a genocide, and you talk about values. You voted voted to send bombs to Israel, and you're talking about love and values here, and children in your neighborhood? Children in your neighborhood get Twinkies and apples. They don't get bombed while going to get them.
And the reason why is quite simple. At least if you've been paying attention politically, you would understand.
One more question, Barry. Barry says, Barry has spoken. This is a lot of pressure. The last question.
You spoke a lot about hope, and obviously you are someone who is very pro-Israel. We also heard beautiful remarks about some of the students on traditionally black colleges, leadership, and what they've done. But could you give us your own evaluation of the African American leadership in the United States, and what is their feeling about Israel? And because oftentimes I think locally outside of New York, we find that there is becoming greater identification not with the history of Israel and what Israel's become, but with the sufferings of the Palestinians without any really understanding of the history of Israel. So comment on African American leadership.
Well, blacks are always going to be, as Jews are, I think, always going to be some of the first to sign up to address the suffering of others. We shouldn't be afraid of that in the black community, in the Jewish community, whatever community. But when it comes to justice for Israel and understanding and suffering within context, we need to be more vigilant than we're being right now. And so within the black community, and I say this all the time, and you asked specifically about black leadership. First of all, this excites me like never before, because Obama is a raindrop compared to the storm that's coming of young black leaders around this country who are phenomenally qualified, phenomenally experienced. You're going to see more black governors, you're going to see more black senators. You're going to see critical that you continue to find, not them when they're Congress people, you find those black leaders when they're 22-year-olds at Oxford, when they're 24-year-olds as a city council president, and you go to them then and say, come to Israel.
Thus, when he's not speaking with AIPAC, he's giving piggyback rides to frickin' Rabbi Shmuley, who is one of the more despicable figures in media, doing hit after hit on Piers Morgan and other shows where he uses the platform to spread misinformation to the masses. Thus, Booker is paid handsomely for doing all the dirty work. Per AIPAC tracker, he has made over $871,000. That is not some small change sort of figure. That is quite large. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.